Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Touchdown Talk. I'm your host, Brett Smith. Week one almost come and gone. We still have TCU North Carolina, Bill Belichick's debut tonight. But what a wild week it was for week one, to say the least. Some were not expecting it. I mean, huge stunners. It was everything you could ask for week one being back. Some teams took care of business, and some teams have a lot of question marks. Frankly, it went the way I thought it was going to go on some, but then a 14-7 ball game in Ohio State and Texas was not at all what I saw happening. As many of you probably didn't either. It had its ups and downs, all the missed plays, but that's what college football is, and we're back. So let's just jump right into it. Your Thursday night big highlight games: Auburn and Baylor, and Georgia Tech, Colorado. Auburn coming away with a 38-24 resounding win in Waco. Jackson Arnold, 11 for 17, 108 passing yards, but he didn't need to pass. He got anything he wanted on the ground. 16 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Baylor did not have an answer for him. Baylor made it look closer, frankly, than it was. Sawyer Robertson, 27 for 48, 419 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. A lot of that coming in the second half. Baylor's defense didn't have an answer for Jackson Arnold and whatever he did. And even with Cam Coleman having 1 reception, frankly, it didn't matter. Auburn's defense looked good that night. Gave up some blown touchdowns. But really, their offense set the tone early and often. You know me, I had Baylor plus 2.5. I was surprised by this because if Auburn can play like this week in, week out, you're looking at Auburn being a contender with all the skill they have around that team. I mean, contender in the SEC, maybe an at-large SEC team in the playoff. Who knows? I don't want to jump ahead just too far yet, but they look pretty good. Then going to the later game that night, Georgia Tech beating Colorado in Colorado 27-20. Haynes King, kind of the same stat line where he didn't need to throw the ball too much because he had 19 carries, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns to give us Georgia Tech winning outright and covering -4 on the late QB scramble on 3rd down with just under 2 minutes left. He was impressive on the ground. Even playing a D game, like a D-rated game. 3 turnovers in 8 minutes in the first quarter does not typically win you a lot of ball games. It typically puts you in the hole 14-0, 17-0, 21-0. Only being 7-0 was the best case scenario that could have happened because Caden Salter was not impressive. 17 for 28, 159, and 1 touchdown, and that one came in the first quarter. And you don't win a lot of ball games like that. I mean, their defense is about the same as what I saw last year. Nothing impressive. Losing some guys too. It looks like it could be a long year for Colorado. Not getting that one whenever they, even having 3 turnovers early, were still in it. I don't know what happened there. I don't know how. Also, these are Friday games, not Thursday games. I apologize. But moving to Saturday, 11 a.m., Lee Corso's final headgear pick goes to Ohio State. And they get the job done, 14-7, in an ugly ball game, frankly. I mean, it was defensive from the kickoff all the way to the final snap. Arch Manning, 17 for 30, 170 passing, and 1 touchdown, 1 interception as well. He didn't look like what we've seen from Arch Manning, frankly. He didn't have time in the pocket to throw. Everything was off his back foot, sidearm. Just a whole out of rhythm from them that you weren't used to seeing. And give credit to Ohio State's defense there for doing that. I mean, you would not have expected that in a million years. I thought he would have been able to pass. Contravion Wisner had 16 carries, 80 yards, so he did well on the ground. But, I mean, nothing too explosive until that last pass for them to make it 14-7. But, I mean, Julian Sayin, for freshman debut, looked pretty good. Delivered good ball to anybody. Jeremiah Smith with a couple drops, kind of out of character there. So, I don't know. Where do you go if you're Texas from here? You got a cupcake next week. You should handle them. I don't even know who it is. I haven't checked yet. But Art should look like the guy you're supposed to. But how much does that really tell you? And you don't really know until you go to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and play Florida, who kind of shellacked their team like they were supposed to against Long Island, where DJ Langway looked good at home. A lot of question marks for Texas. O-line kind of got beat up that game. I mean, they kind of got put in their place. I don't think this is a huge red flag. I don't think it's going to be a season definer, because the only other game I see them going into not really like having, I wouldn't say a chance, but not going to be favored is Georgia at Georgia. So you can still end 10-2, be one loss SEC team, make the SEC championship, and you're fine. And then we go to the 2:30 game. Actually, I want to go back to another 11 o'clock game. Tennessee versus Syracuse, 45-26. I had Syracuse plus 14. Tough one to swallow there because they had chances. But Joey Aguilar didn't know how he was going to be in his debut with Tennessee, coming in April. And he looked the part. I mean, he did 16 for 28, 247 passing, and then 3 touchdowns. And then, I mean, you had the run game there as well. But Syracuse didn't have an answer for you on defense. You got anything you wanted, and frankly, they could have scored again at the end. Joey Aguilar, if he can play like that come SEC play, I know it's Syracuse, but if he can play at least close to that standard, Tennessee will be right up there this year again with how they were last year. Now to the 2:30 game. Alabama versus Florida State. My bet went horribly wrong. And I'm okay with that. It sucks losing the bet, don't get me wrong. But Florida State manhandled Alabama from start to finish. Now, granted, Alabama had that first drive where they looked good. I mean, they got chunk plays, went down and scored. But then you give up 24 unanswered to Florida State. Tommy Castellanos made that quote back in July saying they don't have Nick Saban. He was right. They couldn't stop him. I mean, I don't want to say that this is a game where Florida State rights the ship and they become an ACC contender where they're going to be in that top 4 of the pack. This is a game where it gives you momentum and say, hey, we're bought in. We're doing this. This is us, Alabama, on the other hand, looked lifeless, lethargic, out of character, You just have to imagine Nick Saban sitting there on the couch watching this game and being what happened from 3-4 years ago, because this is not the team that I used to lead. Kalen DeBoer, 4 unranked losses in 14 games. It took Nick Saban 17 seasons to do that. And DeBoer has done it in a season and a game. I don't know what's going on there. A lot of Alabama fans are not happy. Clearly, obviously, I wouldn't be either, because you hate to be the guy behind Nick Saban, but you got to be to a higher standard than what this team is. They don't look completely bought in, and frankly, I don't see them getting any easier with SEC play, obviously. It's a lot of question marks around the Alabama team. You have Louisiana Monroe next week. You should right the ship there. But then how does big games against Georgia, at Georgia, LSU, which is at home, how do those games fare? Because it frankly doesn't look too well right now for the Alabama ship. Moving on to the Saturday night game, LSU knocking off Clemson in Clemson's Death Valley, 17-10. Neither quarterback looked entirely impressive. LSU should have won by 2 scores. The catch that guy had that was overruled, I don't know what a catch is if that's not one. But LSU's defense came to play, and they look like they will be a championship defense for the rest of the year. To go in and get a win like that for Brian Kelly in the season opener is huge. 0-5 in the last season openers. That was a big win. That was what you needed. And that is huge for my future of LSU over 8.5 wins right there, because that is a game where you either go where it makes your season 9-3 or 8-4. But I see them being higher than 9-3. I see them being 10-2 if they can play. If their defense, plays the same way that they did Saturday night, and that offense starts coming along, they'll be good this year. They'll be right up there. Going to the nightcap of Saturday, the late night game, Utah versus UCLA. Utah 43-10 win against Nico Iamaleava in his debut at UCLA. It's about as bad as you can go, frankly. 11 for 22, 136, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That 1 touchdown happened in the first quarter, and then after that, they got shellacked. Devin Dampier, really good debut for Utah. 21 for 25, 206 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. Utah kind of just controlled this game from kickoff. I mean, it was no chance whatsoever. Just took the life out of the building immediately. If Nico can't right the ship and get back to how he was starting off at Tennessee last year, it's going to be a long year for UCLA fans, frankly. And so, I don't know. I didn't see that game. It was late. I went to bed. But that was just kind of a score that stuck out to me, frankly. But then you go to the Sunday game, the first one, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. South Carolina coming away with a 24-11 win. Lenore Sellers, 12 for 19, 2 of 9 passing and 1 touchdown, and had a rushing touchdown. You had some question marks early after the first drive where they ground and pound, did whatever, and then just looked careless with the ball, maybe? I mean, I don't know what you describe in those series before halftime, because that was not South Carolina ball right there. But then the punt return was a huge momentum shifter. It killed everything that Virginia Tech had, and then on top of that, they got one more score to kind of do them in. Nick Harbor with 3 catches, 99 yards, and 1 touchdown. Should have had 2. Same thing with the LSU play. If that's not a catch, I don't know what is. Now, I get that the ball hit the ground, but how you look at it in the NFL as well is 2 catches, possession of the ball, bringing it in. That play should be a touchdown every time. But nonetheless, good win, what they needed. Shane Beamer, he really wanted that win for him and his dad against Virginia Tech. It was good to see that. South Carolina looks like they'll be right back up there where they were last year. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And so that brings us to the Sunday night game, Miami versus Notre Dame, in a game that was a monsoon early. I thought it was going to be an under, and it killed it by half a point because Miami was up and could have run a lot more clock down in the fourth than they did. and they pulled the old Miami tricks out of their hat, frankly. CJ Carr looked good for his debut for Notre Dame. In the first half, Jeremiah Love getting 2 touches, especially on that first drive, is insane. Not expected from Marcus Freeman because he knows that is his all-star, his weapon for the year. And to not give him a lot of touches is frankly crazy with a freshman quarterback starting. But on the other side of the ball, Miami, you have Carson Beck's debut. And he had 20 completions, 31 out of 31 attempts, and had 2 touchdowns. One was an insane grab from C.J. Daniels, former LSU wide receiver. I mean, catch of the year in week 1 already. But Miami controlled this game. This was Miami's to lose, and they didn't. They got it done. From start to finish, they kind of just were more. They were tougher. They were the ones to hit you first. They didn't let you come to them, on their back of their feet. They were right there in your face all night, giving C.J. Carr some trouble in the first half and then midway through the third till he started settling in. And then it was just too late for him. Miami may be better than I projected this year. I wasn't high on them going into this year, but Carson Beck looked good. He proved some of the Georgia guys wrong that counted him out and wanted him gone from there. Notre Dame, I don't think this is just going to make their whole season implode. But they did this last year. I mean, granted, it was Northern Illinois, huge upset last year. But they had that one loss and then one out, frankly. I mean, national championship game, everybody knows. This could be one that gets your focus back, makes you go, hey, we're not going to let that happen again. And I think C.J. Carr takes a big step going forward in the weeks. You have Texas A&M coming up at Notre Dame. That's a big game. Crowd's going to be loud for it. So I think Notre Dame will get their focus right and be prepared for that game and games following. USC, Michigan. I mean, just all those teams, So it was a good week for week 1. A lot of crazy stuff happening that we didn't see. Happening with Florida State, especially from my end. Bad read, but I live for those upsets. It was good to watch. We got Bill Belichick's debut tonight against TCU. I lean TCU minus 2.5 first half, or their team total over at 14. I think TCU will be solid this year. I think Bill Belichick with a new team has a lot to figure out. They can get it done. I don't know if they will. Frankly, I think TCU is a little more experienced. We'll get the job done there. So, yeah, that's my thinking on the game tonight. That's what I've played. That TCU over 14 team total first half is what the bet I played. So go ahead and hop on that. You got 3 hours till kickoff, and I'll be back for week 2 predictions, previews. But yeah, good start to week 1 to college football season. We're back. I expect a whole lot more of this. So it'll be fun. I'm glad you guys are along for the ride, and I will talk to you guys in the future. See you guys.